Are you tired of being trapped in the never-ending cycle of diet culture? If you're looking to break free from the toxic traits of dieting, to find a more sustainable approach to your nutrition that actually allows you to reach your fitness goals without compromising your mental health, then this video is for you. For years, I was trapped in diet culture. I was constantly stressed out about staying in a calorie deficit, disappointed in myself for exceeding my target calorie intake, and after months of on and off dieting, I had ruined my relationship with food. And that really sucked because I'm a foodie. And so it was a really enjoyable experience for me to eat, to cook, to share that with others. And I was at a really low point when I lost that. So struggling to navigate diet culture was a big part of my last few years, but I've finally broken free and actually found a more sustainable and enjoyable way of eating that actually allows me to reach my fitness goals. So I really want to share with you step by step how you can escape diet culture too and repair your relationship with food. At my lowest point, I really struggled with diet culture. At the beginning, I totally went about tracking my calories the wrong way. I was obsessively ad hoc tracking my calories. I knew the foods to eat. It was the amount that was the problem. And I felt that it was a lack of willingness for me to want to push myself to achieve my goals that was the problem, when really it was the system and the approach that actually wasn't best for me. And unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way because what I ended up doing is I would eat what you would constitute as clean foods, and I would log them into Fitbit or MyFitnessPal to track my calories and my macros. And then I would sort of see my remaining balance of calories I had left to sort of fit things in. And then I'd exercise so that I could sort of earn more calories and eat more. Or I would save calories so that I could eat whatever really I wanted at the end of the day if I was going out with friends or family. And ultimately, that just really destroyed my relationship with food. I even got to a point where I was sort of naturally labeling foods as good and bad. So I felt like on a cheat day or a cheat meal that I could have certain foods and that I wasn't allowed to have them at any other point. And that just created so much guilt and so much anxiety when it came to my nutrition, and ultimately didn't even allow me to reach my fitness goals. So it was not pretty. It was not a good point. But fortunately, I was able to transform my relationship with food. Now that I've transformed my relationship with food, I am now in a much better place. I am prioritizing eating for both nutrients and for pleasure. I don't feel guilty for doing so. I'm still reaching my fitness goals, and if anything, faster. And I'm learning to listen to my body's hunger cues and fullness cues again. I actually lost that ability through dieting, which is insane, not even being able to recognize that you're hungry, that you're full. So it's definitely a more mindful eating experience. And on top of that, I've rediscovered my love for food. I look forward to cooking. I look forward to sharing a meal with friends and family. So it's definitely a lot better now. And especially on top of that, the fact that I'm able to reach my fitness goals. And that was ultimately the goal of me entering this diet culture in the first place. So I definitely want to share with you how I've gone about transforming my relationship with food and my approach to nutrition. Before I jump in, if you're liking this video and want to join me on my journey to learn, grow, and thrive, then you can subscribe to my channel, and welcome to the team. So how did I go about breaking from diet culture? It really comes down to 3 steps. The first one revolves completely around mindset. It was letting go of the all in versus all out mindset for myself. And what that meant was all in was, okay, I have a plan. I'm going to stick to it. I know what to eat, how much I'm going to eat, when to eat. I'm cooking all the foods. I'm going to do these exercises on these days. You have a plan and you're 100% on it, and nothing's going to deviate from the plan. The all-out mentality is when you're burnt out from that process because you're 100% devoted to clean eating and clean eating only. And so you're giving yourself a break. You're saying, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to eat what I enjoy, live life. I'm much happier. I'm not stressed out. I'm just going to do that. Now, there's problems with both. The problems are they're both extremes, right? On one hand, in the all-in mentality, you are compromising your mental health. On the all-out mentality, you're compromising your physical health. And neither are good, right? You want both to be in balance. So the goal here really is prioritizing balance. And how I did that is I started eating for nutrients and for pleasure and made sure that I incorporate that as needed based on my unique needs. So I make sure that I have all the food groups and I make sure I satisfy my cravings too. And then guess what? I actually start craving more nutritious foods because those are part of my meal plan and part of my eating habits. So that was the very first lesson. Now, the second lesson was I started focusing on the foods that I actually love to eat. And I got rid of the foods that I hated. And then I made sure that of the foods I loved, I was incorporating all the food groups and of course trying new recipes too to keep it more exciting so I didn't get bored because I'm a pretty picky person when it comes to food. I don't like to have the same thing over and over and over again. So I had to change things up. But ultimately what that looked like is for me, for example, I hate salad. Hate salad. I look at a salad and it screams dieting to me. And that's just for me personally. So I knew I'm like, this is not going to work. Like, not going to work for me. So you still need the nutrients that comes from vegetables though. But what are the vegetables I love to eat? I realize broccoli. I love stir fries. I love bell peppers and onions and cucumbers. And so guess what? Like those are the foods that I eat instead. And I look forward to sort of adding my serving or two of vegetables to my meals because I'm only eating the foods I want to eat instead of the foods I'm supposed to eat. And then the last lesson, lesson number 3, is probably the most important lesson. And it's one that I hope you really take away from this video. And it's the fact that you need to educate yourself about nutrition. I'm fortunate that I grew up an athlete, and so I've always been educated along the way since I was a kid about nutrition. I always known about calories, about protein, fats, carbs, how you actually need to have balance in them, what they do to your body. So I had this coming in. That being said, I still needed to learn how to adjust and adapt as your sort of body grows, as you develop, as your life circumstances change, etc. So there's an aspect of learning. You need to understand how macronutrients work, how micronutrients work, and most importantly, how portion controls work. And make sure that the information that you're getting are actually factual and they're from reliable sources. Now, the most useful part of this is that it's a tool that allows you to sort of adapt to your unique needs. Now that I know about portion controlling from my period of calorie counting, I don't need to track anymore. But I want to just asterisk on this, important note, like this is unique to me. It might not work for you. I know people that track everything and they love to do it. I know people that absolutely can't track. I'm someone who needed to track to learn what worked for me. And now I don't track because I know that it's a trigger for disordered eating for me. So I don't do it. Instead, I've now learned what portions and what types of foods my body needs so that I'm able to reach my goals. And so now the onus is on you to do the same, right? Take information from reliable sources, learn about nutrition, learn about what you need to do with that nutrition to reach your fitness goals. So maybe, for example, if you're trying to lose fat, like that's a calorie deficit, maybe you have to figure out how much of a deficit you need. Then you have to figure out what's your approach. Are you going to portion control? Are you going to calorie count? Are you going to track your macros? Are you going to work with a dietitian? What are you going to do? Find the approach that works for you. Now, there's no issue with trying something and then noticing it doesn't work. So then you change it up. All that you need to make sure is that you're constantly in check with yourself. So one really important sort of lesson that I want to I want to make sure is clear in this video is you need to prioritize your physical and your mental well-being. The goal shouldn't be to strive for perfection because there's no bar. That bar doesn't exist. You should be striving for progress. The goal is to improve. Like every so often, you're getting a little bit better. You're getting more knowledge. You're learning how to implement. Your habits are getting stronger, and you're slowly getting closer and closer to reaching your goal. If the goal is being all in 100% of the time, well, guess what? You're not going to get there. And that's really kind of the biggest problem. Now, in how do you prioritize your physical and mental well-being? You listen to your body, right? If you're hungry, you eat, you fuel it, and make sure that's optimal for your performance and for your health. If you're craving something, you eat it, and you make sure you're meeting those needs, your physical needs and your mental needs. And then with that, you can break free from this cycle and this obsession that comes from diet culture, and you can live a happier and healthier life, right? The goal is to enjoy the process too. So to recap the steps of breaking free from diet culture, the first thing is you want to let go of your all in versus all out mentality by prioritizing balance. Then you want to focus on eating foods that you love across all the food groups and trying out new recipes too, so you don't get bored. And then finally, educating yourself from reliable sources about macronutrients, micronutrients, and portion controlling. And then, of course, on top of that, I encourage you guys to prioritize your mental and your physical well-being. That's my final message for you to break free from diet culture. And I hope you're able to grow to live and live a happier and healthier lifestyle. And you don't have to go through the low points that I went through to get there now. But if you're struggling and you're sort of encompassed in that diet culture today, I want to leave you with a quote that can sort of help you get out of that mindset. And it's that feeling guilty when you're hungry is like feeling guilty for breathing when your lungs need oxygen. We've literally been taught to be ashamed of our basic human needs. Refuse to feel the shame. You are allowed to eat. So please remember that. And you got this. I believe in you. If you need additional support, don't be afraid to reach out to me or to the various mental health resources that are out there. I myself have seen a psychologist before. I highly recommend it if that's something that you're into or interested in pursuing. So go take it upon yourself to recognize that you need help if you need help. And that's all I have for you guys today. So if you enjoyed this video and you're looking for more content, then subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss my next video. And I'll catch you in the next one.